Xbox dominated the Summer Games Fest announcements on Sunday, and then Apple has now entered the gaming space in a big way. Welcome back to this week's Game News Show. Let's get started with the Apple news. Yesterday was the WWDC keynote, which is where Apple announces all their software updates to iOS, iPadOS, Watch, Mac. Like everything gets mentioned here. Some major stuff outside of the purview of gaming. But there was some pretty big gaming related things that I wanted to touch on here tonight. Specifically, courtesy of 9 to 5 Mac. I had to dig for some good coverage of this, by the way. But I watched this keynote, and Apple's like taking gaming more seriously, but in their own way, right? So 9 to 5 Mac, courtesy of Ryan Christoffel, posted this article. Your iPhone is getting a dedicated game mode in iOS 18. Here's what that means. And so game mode, here's what's new. Game mode brings enhancements to iPhone gaming. In iOS 18, your iPhone will be able to automatically enter a special game mode whenever you're having a serious gaming session. Game mode will do three things: minimize background activity so it can sustain consistently high frame rates, massively reduce latency when using a Bluetooth game controller, similarly reduce latency when using AirPods for audio. Those last 2 points are like major for me personally, because there's just sometimes you're trying to play a game, and if you're using a controller, sometimes I'll use like my Xbox controller paired to it, and it's like a very slight bit of input delay. It's not gonna break the game. It's not horrible, but as long as it's on, if there's a way to reduce the latency, why not take advantage of it? No, Base Guru, you didn't miss it. We're just starting. But it goes on to say there's no special switch to toggle. Instead, your phone will automatically trigger game mode where appropriate to provide a higher quality game experience on iOS. So then it's game modes designed for AAA titles, and Apple showed this slide. I think World of Warcraft Dragonflight. I don't remember seeing that announcement. Anyway, you probably won't notice the benefits of game mode playing games like Candy Crush, but next time you play a high-performance title, perhaps like the forthcoming Sniper Elite 4, everything should run smoother than before. Apple's been pushing for more AAA games to come to the iPhone, iPad, and Mac. Most of its efforts have been focused on Mac gaming, but game mode is evidence that the company knows it has work on iOS to do on iOS as well. Game mode already existed on the Mac, but it's great to see it come to iPhone too with iOS 18. And then, are you excited about game mode? I think this is just major because the lower latency and then the push for AAA games, which we're going to get to in a moment, is huge. So we'll move on to our next Apple-related story, which is that over a dozen games receive official Mac ports, including Assassin's Creed Shadows at launch, which we have a separate topic on that. But basically, Apple's announced a free update of its gaming porting toolkit for Sequoia, which is the next Mac OS, with a number of games receiving official Mac ports as a result. And here's a list of games. This is like the important thing, right? Assassin's Creed Shadows, Control Ultimate Edition, Dead Island 2, Frostpunk 2, Pal World, coming to Mac officially, Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 7, Riven, which Riven, the sequel to Myst, is a remake, not a port of the original Riven, because why wouldn't that run? Anyway, RoboCop Rogue City, Sniper Elite 4, Valheim, World of Warcraft, The War Within. So WoW is getting a native port on Mac, and Wuthering Waves was actually huge. I wish HoYoverse would get involved and put their games this way on Mac as well. But Wuthering Waves having a native client on macOS is also pretty awesome. Updated also includes Xcode 16, which will allow developers to create and maintain shared code bases for games across all Apple devices, meaning they can port their Mac port to iPad and iPhone fairly easy, so it can run natively on those devices, which is awesome. Now, if all that went over your head, what we're seeing here is Apple is giving the tools to developers to more easily port their PC games over to Mac and the rest of the Apple ecosystem by extension. And that's a pretty big step in gaming. The easier it is to move your stuff around and get it on a different platform, the easier it is for a developer to make that decision to support. So hopefully we can see more games coming to Mac in a big way. This list is not insignificant. I mean, the newest Assassin's Creed game launching day and date It's not coming later. Like Control, how long has Control been out for, right? We've seen it launch on multiple platforms, multiple editions, just delayed. Now it's coming to Mac, whereas Assassin's Creed Shadows launching day and date on Mac OS. Like I just think it's a big deal. And so we're gonna hopefully start seeing other like cross-platform. I think like service-based games. I mean, you got WoW on here, World of Warcraft, Valheim. You could see stuff like Overwatch or XDefiant start making the leap to Mac as well, just to pull those gamers in and or people who want to play on their iPad with a controller. Hopefully it's locked to controller, but yeah, touchscreen controls might work. Anyway, let's move on to the next story, which is Control Ultimate Edition coming to Mac in 2024, optimized for Apple Silicon Macs with support for HDR, Metal FX upscaling, and for hardware accelerated ray tracing on Macs with the latest M3 family of chips, which is awesome, which means the game will look and run really great. That's just a Twitter post about it. I just thought it was interesting that Control is just so widely loved, and it's a great game. It's so weird. It's interesting. It's a good game. I need to sit down and finish it one day. And then Assassin's Creed Mirage is now available on iPhone and iPad, as long as it's a more recent device. That's great. It's a full game, full release, optimized for mobile, optimized for Apple hardware, touchscreen controls, fully customizable touchscreen controls in the trailer that is posted here. It's crazy. Like, it's just like Apple is, we've been seeing them take little steps to make gaming more relevant. Apple Arcade, I think, is still, a really good value if you have an Apple device. And then now you're getting more and more full release games just ported over. And it's awesome. If you only have, a Mac or an iPad, now you can like jump into some awesome games for very little effort. You don't have to worry about the hardware, because if it's a recent device, it'll probably run it. All right, let's move on. All right, let's watch some trailers. I didn't get a chance to really watch the Summer Games Fest trailers, so let's start with Lego Horizon Adventures.
Okay, next.
Hey, look, this is Hot Dog Guy auditioning for the lead and unannounced action game.
We see you as more of a sidekick.
Oh, sure, I get that a lot, but check out my range. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Empathy. Oh, hilarity. This guy.
Let's use the hot dog.
And what game is this anyway?
Hey, neat costume. I gotta get me one of those. Ooh, sandwich. Sorry, gotta go.
Who is that?
That hot dog guy is Aloy, an amazing video game lead.
Thunderjaw went mad and is tearing through the valley.
Don't worry, I'll bring it down. This is gonna be fun.
Okay.
And cut fire attack.
A lonely hero, hunting machines all by herself.
Hello, I have friends,
Let's do this.
Right, a friendly hero, hunting with her pals.
Hey, whose side are you on?
Exploring,
Wow, what is this place?
collecting all the shiny things.
All right, this looks actually pretty cool.
Making a home.
Aloy, the Thunderjaw's back.
Oh, right, the Thunderjaw. Ooh, that's a big one. Here we go.
That's very interesting.
Down you go. Woo, better get a snack.
Ooh, you want mustard on that?
Is that the bud? I'm good.
Unexpected.
Leave it.
So I found that super interesting. If you guys haven't watched that trailer yet, it's the first time I've watched it. Did not know, but it's coming to obviously PlayStation. It's coming to Switch and PC all at the same time. That's crazy. like we're seeing a Horizon Zero Dawn spin-off title hitting something else, you know, that isn't a PlayStation or PC day and date. It's crazy. All right, well, let's jump to our next topic here. All right, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero release date announcement trailer. This was also a Summer Game Fest thing, and I totally missed it, so I was saving it to tonight. I've been kind of following this game. I like the Dragon Ball Z games.
I guess we'll see. This will be when the true battle begins.
Looks so good.
Well, the way you slice it, there's only one way to save her. Goodbye, my friends. No matter what it takes, I need to rescue Gohan. Goku, wait! What? Never, ever forgive me for this. Now you will suffer my wrath. You are impressive, boy. I will show you the true form of autonomous Ultra. It's my turn now. Change everything.
Break the heavens. It just looks good. Ooh, October 11th. All right. Pre-order bonuses. 6 characters, early unlock. Interesting. Yeah, so that's cool. I'm glad to see that coming out. It looks like it's next gen only, so that's awesome. But yeah, I like the fighting games, and Kakarot was a good game, right? Don't get me wrong. It's a fantastic game. But these titles hold a special place for people. I mean, Budokai Tenkaichi was just a fun series, and all of the 3D Dragon Ball Z fighters have been fun. So this looks awesome. I'm glad it's got a release date. It's looking good as usual. And I'm glad they're kind of focusing on like the newer stuff instead of just replaying the same like epic fights from DBZ over and over. They're showing Dragon Ball Super, which is great. Like, pay attention to that newer stuff, showcase that, because that's what current fans are going to be more familiar with. And we've played a lot of those initial fights, from the Saiyan saga and the Namek saga and all of that. We've done that for years, So having the newer stuff to kind of take a forefront to it is great. So that's awesome. All right, one more trailer, I think, and then we'll get back to our articles. Sonic Cross Shadow Generations Summer Games Fest trailer. This was cool. I actually watched this one ahead of time, but I wanted to watch it again. I loved Sonic Generations when it first came out, and I will gladly play it again. Oh, this looks so trippy. So the shadow portions look really neat. And apparently there was a demo available. Not like publicly, but a private, like closed doors demo, I guess, that people were talking about.
I'll overcome every obstacle with this power.
Yeah, so I'm actually really pumped for this one because the changes they're making to the base Sonic Generations game sound awesome. Looks like it's gonna run at like 60 frames, upscaled. I don't even think it's upscaled. I think it's gonna be just natively rendering at a higher resolution than the 360 version, which is fantastic. And then all of the new additions, like you'll have skins for Sonic in the game, and then you'll have the shadow content, which looks awesome. And then just more people will be able to play this game. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped for this. I think they could have chosen a better name, but It's just hard to Google this name, if you know what I mean. Anyway, all right, let's move on to our next story. Game Pass did get an update on the 6th, which these games are now available, I believe, or most of them. But Octopath Traveler 1 and 2, which I've never played, World War 1, Isanzo, Italian Front, Callisto Protocol, Still Wakes the Deep, and I can't read that last title. We'll just scroll down. Depersonalization. Tabletop role-playing game inspired by Call of Cthulhu. Okay, it's probably not for me. But anyway, then we got a few things leaving in a couple of days. Bramble the Mountain King, High on Life, Rune Factory 4, Space Lines from the Far Out, and The Bookwalker. You know, games come and go in Game Pass. I think it's pretty cool that Octopath is now on Xbox and Cloud and just part of Game Pass. I would like to play it. I don't know if it's a game I should play on stream. I've never played Octopath Traveler. I don't really know what I'm getting into. If it's a super long RPG, I have no clue. Nothing about it, except that when it was shown on Switch, I really wanted to get it. But then I was like, realistically, am I going to play through this? Now it's on Game Pass. I could at least install it, give it a shot. So that may happen. But super cool. All right, the rest of the show here from here on out is pretty Xbox heavy, but it's just because there's details and things that we should go over. So this was a very brief part of the Xbox showcase where they showed new hardware, and I just wanted to take a closer look at it. That white Series X all digital is real, 1 terabyte. The Series S in white, also 1 terabyte. Remember, they released the black Series S with a 1 terabyte SSD. Now they have the base model, I guess, is just going to be the 1 terabyte version in white or black. You get to pick. And then later in the year, I think towards the end of the year, we'll get a special edition Series X in Galaxy Black with a 2 terabyte SSD. And I was just kind of glossed over. So thankfully, Xbox Wire came in clutch and had up a whole write-up on this. You know, all 3 of these launch this holiday, 2024. And what we get out of this, I mean, people are probably wondering what they cost. So the Series S is $349.99. Still a really good deal. You get a lot more storage. I know with my Series S, I'm already I need to get a storage expansion. That's where I'm at. I keep looking at them, kind of pricing them, watching them, kind of go on sale here and there. And I need to pull the trigger, right? But now I'm kind of waiting. Should I just wait and grab the 1 terabyte Series X and just upgrade the S? I don't know. But that's where we are. And then, okay, so the all white digital edition Series X will be $449.99, which I believe is $50 cheaper than the base Series X. But then we got the 2 terabyte Galaxy Black Series X, which is great, for $599.99. So that SSD, that extra terabyte, is pretty costly. That's the world we live in, y'all. The form factor for the solid state drive is what's driving the cost so much. It's that M.2, but it's the short one, and it's like that cramming 2 terabytes of storage in that is pretty costly. That's just where we're at right now. Economically, the cost of materials for that thing. You can look up SSDs. 1 terabyte will be about $100. You'll pay a little more for faster. You want a 2 terabyte, you're immediately going to $150. Almost guaranteed. You can get them for a little less, but you're sacrificing speed and performance. But I think these look great. This Galaxy Black, with the green stars, I guess, constellations on it, just looks good. The controller also matches the whole colorway, and it just looks really cool. And yeah, it's nice to see. I'm surprised they didn't try to do a spec upgrade besides the storage, maybe a faster clocked CPU or anything. It's kind of surprising, but yeah, I think Microsoft is just at the point where it's look, the Series X is good enough. It's barely being tapped as it is, so why upgrade the specs if people aren't maxing it out? They're just underutilizing it, from what I understand. I don't, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments or chat, but from what I understand, both PS5 and Xbox have barely been pushed to their limits, and so doing a Pro or a revision just isn't in the works immediately. There is going to be something coming, obviously, but probably next year. All right, moving on. Some other top stories. All right, so this was everything shown at the Games Showcase on Sunday. Key titles for me: Black Ops 6, Indiana Jones, Gears of War E-Day. Let's see, Assassin's Creed Shadows. The gameplay looked good. Perfect Dark, I'm excited about. This Expedition 33 seems awesome. Metal Gear Solid Delta looked really cool. Mecha Break and Fragpunk looked awesome. Both of those. The expansion for Fallout 76 has me interested in playing Fallout 76. I need to try it. Atomfall also looked interesting. But yeah, a lot of great games here that are they're just gonna be huge. They're looking great. All right, and then I kind of wanted to take a closer look at. They put these write-ups on everything they announced first party, and so Gears of War E-Day has an article. It says, check out the brutal new trailer. E-Day's an origin story, depicts the horror of the Locust invasion on Emergence Day through the eyes of Marcus Phoenix. Developers at the Coalition share further details on how this long-awaited origin story is being built from the ground up in Unreal Engine 5, which is awesome. It's gonna be the best looking Gears game, and I like that it's a prequel. It tells a story that you could get from books, but who reads books? I'd rather play video games. But the trailer was good, and then this article just kind of goes into like some details and talking about the locusts and just the designs, and it's a good write-up if you guys haven't read it. I was just kind of interested in the trailer and was excited about it. Just them going back and telling this story is really awesome, and it's going to make for a good game. It's got a lot of characters people like from the Gears story, and it's a story that you haven't had visually told yet. So very excited for Gears E-Day. All right, Perfect Dark. I've been waiting for news on this game. The gameplay trailer looked good. I think the game itself looks very creative. If you guys haven't seen the trailer, it's fantastic. We did react to it on Sunday night on stream. It's pretty awesome to see like all of this kind of roll out. It says Perfect Dark will be a single player experience with a set of missions, but with choices offered in how you complete those missions. Looking at the trailer, it's clear that traversal and gadgets are a huge part of this. We see new parkour abilities used throughout, both for movement and combat. Developers tell me that the focus was on creating an intuitive movement system which will let players find interesting ways to tackle their objectives. Add to that a combat system that allows for both melee and gunplay, stealth mechanics, and liberal use of gadgets, and Perfect Dark is a game to present players with an objective, but let them figure out how they want to achieve it. Team Perfect Dark doesn't want this to feel like any one genre. It takes in elements of first-person shooters, immersive sims, and stealth action, but blends them into a seamless whole. The goal is to offer a true secret agent fantasy, and letting players use their various tools and abilities in the way they want is key. So I'm actually like really pumped because Perfect Dark on N64 was just, it was GoldenEye 2. And then Perfect Dark 2 was also really good. Well, I guess we had Perfect Dark 0 on the 360, which wasn't like, it was all right. But the original Perfect Dark was fantastic. And so it's cool to see this whole franchise come back, but like kind of retain that techie, futuristic whole feel that the original Perfect Dark captured so well. And just that trailer, the traversal, the combat, the emphasis on like the gadgets, like being able to like scan and look through walls and stuff. I don't know. I'm a huge fan of that. That's why I like Splinter Cell. The Splinter Cell games do the same thing. It's just like a emphasis on options on how to like tackle objectives, and then the tools to do those things with however you want. And it's just super cool. But I don't know. I'm really pumped for this. I'm hoping to see more. It's going to be a great game. All right, let's move on to our next story. We had some info on Black Ops 6. They did the deep dive and everything else. I think what I wanted to emphasize here was Phil Spencer's commitment to Call of Duty being equivalent on every platform it releases on. So no more platform exclusive DLC or first on PlayStation, first on Xbox. You guys remember this back and forth. I mean, for years throughout the 360 generation, they got, if you were a 360 owner, you got map packs at least a couple of weeks early on Xbox, but there was no crossplay then. It wasn't that big a deal. And then PlayStation secured that bag with the PS4, and they started doing the extra DLC and bonus content and all that. or the advanced release of DLC anyway. And Phil Spencer was just like, hey, look, Black Ops 6 is coming to Game Pass. It's going to be available everywhere. But we're not locking any of the DLC or any content behind any gate. It'll be the same experience for every player that plays it. And I respect that. I'm excited for that. Plus, the Black Ops games had become some of my favorites. So just looking forward to whatever Activision has in store. I'm trying to like not go too deep into the trailers or analysis or anything, because I want to take it in fresh, as pure of an experience as we can get. But that trailer they showed, that story trailer, looked really good. I love the alternate history, the shadow government kind of stories. Like, everything about it was awesome. But yeah, that'll do it for this week's game news. I did go a little longer than I expected to here, but that's fine. You guys, let me know what you think in the comments if you're watching on YouTube after the fact. Thank you if you're watching on Rumble as well. You know, whatever platform you're watching on, thanks for watching. But yeah, we're going to go play some Star Rail now, because that also got some updates, but I'm nowhere near experiencing those updates. So we're going to go do that here in a moment. If you're watching live on Twitch, just hang tight. We'll get to that. If you're watching on YouTube or Rumble, be sure to like, follow, subscribe, do whatever the platform demands. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Later.